He- Hello everybody, Intervision07 here, back with another video. So I know I said I recorded this, but then I went back and started to watch it and realized I made some horrible mistakes in where the camera was at that I fixed. And audio record playback. You know, basically I had my speakers on, so it was playing back the sound twice. And I was like, huh, that sucks. So I'm going to re-record this because, I've got plenty of time. Alright, so we're going to start with Chapter 3 in Quest for the Mountain Shaper. A dark turn of events. So in our previous little chapter here, basically we got to the end as Jolo, killed our imposter, and then a dragon came down and stole the hammer from Jolo. So now that's how that ended. There's basically a big scary dragon with some ghost image of the Lich Queen. So now here we are as a dark turn of events. The Lich Queen horde is all around you. Undead things and foul beasts approach. Even the surrounding wildlife seems to be under her spell. You must make your escape with the hammer. Letting it fall into Millerain's dark grasp can only lead to untold horrors. Alright, so this one has 9 encounters. This will probably be a pretty long video, but yeah, that's whatever. I don't mind releasing the long videos. If someone actually watches them, then, you know, props to them for being a champion. Alright, so in this one we had buffed up where we got random spirit infusion sunburns, and I don't think I ever seen healing fireball for some reason, even though it says that. But yeah, basically we got random spells that let us buff our guys. This one's essence transfers, so both players' minions gain 25% of their target's max health when they kill it. So basically, say I've got dude with 100 health versus dude with 100 health. Just say this guy does 100 damage. So he walks up, pimp slaps this guy with 100 health. He dies horribly. So he has 25% of his health is 25. So basically, this guy here with 100 health eats it and gets 125 health. And then that keeps going for every other dude with 100 health. He keeps bitch slapping. So, you know, he'll go 150, 175. You know, that's just kind of the basic concept of how this works. So this can be really scary with some like big units. Is it a snowball control? So I'm gonna play this chapter with Minion, as she is the main focus of the story and whatnot. So yeah. And I'll just re-explain everything because I like talking to myself apparently. Well, yeah. Anyways. So Minion receives a dark and cryptic vision that sets her on a journey to find the ancient artifact Mountain Shaper. Mocked by her appearance, she sets out to try and stop the terrible weapon from falling into the wrong hands. The only elves willing to join her are the dangerous... Okay, let me repeat. The only elves willing to join her on this dangerous journey are High Mage Lillo and her personal guard. Oh, yay, Butching... Okay. So we've got Minion here. So her auto attack, or master attack, she's got a range of like 8 or 10. So that's pretty decent. But she kind of does low damage because she fires 3 arcane missiles that deal 8 damage each. So she only does 24 damage every time she attacks. But she has mana surge, so like as herself as a master. So while she has 6 or more mana, she gets plus 50% attack speed. But even with mana surge, her auto attack's kind of weak. Like it's almost weaker or as powerful as the one that's, you know, the master version of her in the game. So if I go back here, and then I can go pick Minion here, because she's actually one of the masters in the game. If you look here, she has the same thing, fires 3 arcane missiles. They do 27? Bad at math, apparently. Anyways, so she fires 3 of them, they each deal 8, and then it's cooled down, so it's every 6 seconds, and then she's got a range of 10. But for each spell in her hand, she fires an extra spark. So if you've got 4 spells in your hand, she'll actually fire 7 arcane missiles. Or, you know, she can double her DPS essentially. To where the other one, she can only ever attack 50% faster. I mean, that's enough random shenanigans. Needless to say, this master's basic attack is kind of underwhelming. But that's okay. It kind of makes it harder sometimes. Alright, so her first ability here is Arcane Synergy. Add an Arcane Missile spell to your deck for every 2 spells in your deck. So basically when I hit level 1, I start with Chain Lightning and Last Stand, and that's 2 spells. So I'll get 1 Arcane Missile. An Arcane Missile is a 0 cost little volley missiles that shoot in a straight line. And there's 5 of them, so they each do 30. So it does up to 150 damage total in the thing it hits. So it's pretty nice because it costs 0. So eventually later in the game I'll pick up more spells. because his master like spells. So eventually, like when I level up, I'll get 3 of these, probably at most. But that's pretty nice. And then her second level is probably her, like the one that will win you games and keep you not dying. Is all ranged minions you play are accompanied by a Crystal Sentry. So a Crystal Sentry is this 4 mana unit right here. So basically, he's a ranged unit himself. His range is kind of short at 4, and he targets ground and air, which is pretty solid. And he's got Mana Surge, so he's got that Crystal Elf faction mechanic to where while you keep higher than 6 mana, you get plus 50% attack speed, and that's really strong. Mana Surge is strong. The only thing, well, you know, when it's active, is strong. So as a base, he does 60 damage and attacks every 1.7 seconds, and his DPS is 35.3. So he does pretty alright damage without that. Now when he gets Mana Surge, he can actually put out some serious damage. And he's got 275 health. It isn't the highest, but for being a ranged unit, it's pretty solid. He's like short range. He's like melee unit, like compared to something like a solid melee fighter or forward, they would like have maybe 400 some health and do about the same damage. So you sacrifice a little bit of health for, you know, the ability to be able to attack air, which is a big deal, and a little bit of range. So that's kind of nice. So every range, so like basically once I level 2, I'll get 2 of these guys. So basically I'm getting a free 4 mana there. So this makes this worth 8 mana kind of in a way. And then Crystal Archers here, we'll get another one, and they'll be worth like 7 mana because I'll get a free Crystal Sentry. I had to think about that for a second. And Crystal Archers here, they're similar. They got all Crystal Elf units, I believe, for the most part, except their constructs have 50% attack speed or Mana Surge while you have 6 or more mana. That's kind of like a faction mechanic thingy. The Crystal Archers here, they're comparable to Plasma Marines. They do a little bit less DPS, but they have longer range. They have a little bit less health. The biggest thing is they're like longer range units, so they can shoot further. Yeah. That's about it. But while they have Mana Surge, they'll actually deal more damage than the Marines, which are really comparable to Plasma Marines. So yeah, so basically when we start, oh yeah, and her third level is Arcane Overcharge, where your spells cast twice. So basically this synergizes with just Arcane Synergy itself, or my Arcane Missiles will cast twice, and then everything else casts twice. So basically Arcane Overcharge can become really insane. The first couple matches you probably won't even hit level 3, so it won't be until the later matches, but yeah, this is really strong. You know, like doubling Last Stand's really good, because Last Stand just summons a bunch of Legionaries, so it can summon 5 when I have no bridges, or if I control both bridges, I summon 7. And when you summon 7, so if you're paying 1 mana for a Legionary, that's really strong. So, you know, I'm getting 7 mana for 7 Legionaries. Hey, turns out that's good. And then when you double that, that's even more good. So, doubling your, so like, I would, you know, pay 7 and get 7 back for free. So I would summon literally an army of Legionaries for 14. So that's pretty solid. So I got an affinity card here. So I've got this Empyrean unit. I've already got a couple Empyrean cards. They're Last Stand and Warrior. These guys are just, well, these are Legionaries. You know, they have 160 health. They do 30 damage every swing, 20 every 1.5 seconds. So they're kind of just solid. Usually you get you get decent numbers of these guys with the cards that summon them. So that's kind of nice. They like overwhelm your opponents while having enough health to stay in the fight a little bit. And they've got this ability called Empyrean Army. If you have 5 or more Empyrean cards in your deck at the time this is played, they gain rage. So then they actually do some solid damage. They'll do 45 damage a swing. So they get 50% more damage. So that's kind of nice. So this, as you notice, this normally costs 3. Well, this is discounted because like an affinity card's like a special thing. I can get Crystal Construct, which normally costs 5, but it costs 3 here because it's a special version I get. So basically how these work, normally you can only pick this, but since I've played this a couple times, as you beat so many bosses, you unlock the more, well, technically more powerful affinity cards where they get bigger discounts. The Crystal Constructs here is a solid, he's got cost 5, he's got 800 health, so he can definitely take some punishment and stay there. He does have a melee attack that just targets anything. He does 80 damage, which isn't bad, but his attack speed's really slow. So that's kind of, he's not really there. He'll do a little bit of damage, but that's not his point. The point is there to sit there and be a wall for your opponents to have to take a couple seconds to get through. And he's also got this really nice ability that you gain 1 mana when he dies. So he kind of costs 4 in a way. So yeah. It's just a solid unit. He's really nice with Crystal Elves because they need this. They need this kind of unit to do their thing because they're usually really squishy themselves. Or if you notice, like Crystal Sentry, he's only got that much health. I mean, he won't die immediately, but that's not going to live a long time. And neither are these Crystal Archers with only 45 health. So you need units like this to block and absorb the fire, so these ranged units can do their job. And the last one's Arcane Bolt. So this normally costs 4, but I get a discount of 4 because it's, you know, the Infinity card. What Arcane Bolt does is it stuns the highest health ground minion in the area for 9 or 5 seconds. And then if it has 500 or less health, destroy it or execute, kind of in a way. So basically, destroy is kill a unit. If it's mythic, deal damage equal to 50% of its max health when it's dead. So there's no mythic units that whenever they have 500 or less health, they'll just die outright, I think. I don't know, that's kind of weird. Anyways, so basically the idea you use this is, okay, you got a big opponent, you know, scary tank unit coming in. You cast this on it when it has maybe close to 500 health, like maybe about 700 health or something is what you want to try to aim for. And then it will be stunned for a little bit. It will be stunned for 5 seconds. 5 seconds in this game is a pretty decent stun. So while the thing's sitting there not moving, you got things shooting it. Ideally, before the 5 seconds is up, you'll hit this 500 health threshold, and this bolt will actually just, you know, finish off that unit and do 500 damage, and that's really strong. Not only targets ground, there's certain units to where they'll have 500 or less health, and you can just play this on them and kill them, because this spell costs 5, kind of, because it costs 4 here, but it's got this mana freeze. So basically, mana freeze is kind of like another mechanic for Crystal Elves, mostly. That gives Crystal Elf spell. Or the Crystal Elf faction. So basically, the idea is you play this, and then you have your next mana lock. But the reason why mana freeze is kind of a thing, because you want to use it to try to stay in your mana surge here, because you need 6 or more mana. So ideally, if this Arcane Bolt costed 5 here, whenever I played it, it would put me out of Mana Surge if I had 10 mana, basically, because it would put me back to 5. And then I would be kind of sad for a second, because all my Crystal Elf units that were attacking twice as fast, or 50% faster, they aren't attacking that fast anymore, and I'm for like a short second, and then that's kind of sad. But with this, since this has Mana Freeze 1 and cost 4, when I play it at 10, I actually go to 6, so I never lose Mana Surge. And then even though I'm locked out of a mana for a second, I still keep the Mana Surge going the whole time. So that's kind of like the idea behind Mana Freeze, basically. You get more powerful, kind of like, you know, powerful spells cheaper, but they still end up costing the same. But the whole idea is to try to keep you in Mana Surge longer. So yeah, Arcane Bolt's a pretty solid spell. It's nice against tanks, and there's certain units to where if you pay 5 to kill a 5-mana unit, it's an even cost. There's a few random, like, 6 costs or more units where you can use this on and it will just kill it outright and you get a mana savings value. So I can, like Crystal Construct's good and Arcane Bolt's gonna, I guess I'll go with Arcane Bolt because it's the biggest discount. And it's strong. It's a spell and I like spells, and there will be really nice synergy. I'll be able to show off what Arcane Bolt, especially a 0 mana Arcane Bolt, I'll be able to show off what it can do. Alright, so our first opponent here is the Risen Dead, because the Lich Queen's here and she's raising everyone back from the dead. Alright, so basically he's got an auto attack where he just swings his club. It's like a medium melee damage attack. So he's not the scariest master. So when he levels up to level 1, he gets 2 Cursed Fireballs. They cost 0. So Cursed Fireball is basically like, it's the same radius and cast delay of a fireball, except it's green. And it doesn't deal damage when it applies Curse, and Curse is this effect where the unit loses 3% of its max health every second. So you're just going to see him lobbing these around, and it'll just do a little bit of damage over time. It's really good against high health units that are expensive, but I don't have that here, so I don't have to worry about that. I mean, they'll still do damage, it's just not going to be like, oh, that's a big problem. The second level is Rise. All minions who die in this guy's Undying Skeleton's arena, leave an Undying Corpse owned by this master. All minions? Okay, so basically, everything that dies will leave this little Undying Corpse, and Undying Corpses is little, like, bones, you'll see them. They'll just sit there for a minute, and basically after so many seconds, it resurrects as an Undying Skeleton, which is this unit. That's what it looks like right there, but an Undying Skeleton's like a solid melee fighter. They're not the best but they're not, you know, like, they're significant. In The Walking Dead's all minions leave an undying corpse. So, okay, so basically, this only is on his side, and then when he levels up to 3, it's the whole arena. Now this match isn't going to last till level 3, but that's kind of just that. I forgot to read the... oh well. Basically, spooky, scary skeletons popped up out of the ground, and now we need to kill them. I usually read the little encounter thingy, but oh well. Alright. So he played Spearmancer there in the bridge, which is a really bad use of that unit. But Spearmancer's a good card. AI is just dumb. Yeah, so Crystal Sentry does. He just... okay, so that guy so that's the Cursed Fireball. So now he's cursing, you're just going to watch his health slowly go down. Yeah, so... RIP Bat. So now I want to wait till I have 9 mana to play this, and I keep the mana... keep this Mana Surge going. That's kind of the thing you want to try to do. So now look at all... he actually did a lot of damage because I had Mana Surge active the whole time. So that guy there is Blastmancer. You'll probably see him a couple times in this adventure. Every time whenever he attacks you and the unit dies, as you've seen there, it blows up and deals damage in that radius. Now if the unit doesn't die, then that doesn't happen. So yeah, basically he'll die there and be sad. He doesn't do a lot of damage, as you noticed there. Throughout that whole time that warrior was murdering him, he didn't do a whole lot. So he just played a bunch of Cursed Fireballs. One thing to note about curses, doesn't stack. Like, this guy's got a cursed door around him. He's kind of just like a melee skeleton. But once he dies, there'll be like a little cursed area around him and stuff. And then, basically, if you see here, this warrior's health should just kind of drain a little bit while she's in that. It's not a whole lot, though. And then once she's out of it, she's no longer cursed. That little, like, effect goes away. It's Nether Bat. I control both bridges. I summoned a little army of guys there. This is Arcane Missile. Just shoots along and... yeah, does some damage. We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Turns out they thought it was supposed to die. Oh well. There you go. First skeletons killed. I'm sure there'll be more undead shit that, you know, wants to make us dead. Because they're like, they just want to spread the love. Alright, so now that we beat the skeletons, we leveled up and we get to this relic. So relics do different things. So I've got here Crystal Clear. So each time you level up, all cards in your hand cost 3 mana until played. Now you gotta note, 0 mana stuff. So like I got this 0 mana card here. If this is in my hand when I level up and have this will cost 3. So I've actually increased the mana by 3 on that, and that's actually really bad. But it's really good on like Last Stand where I'll get a 4 mana discount. And I'll get a 1 mana discount, 1 mana discount, doesn't matter. This isn't worth it. Mostly because I'll get these Arcane Missiles in my deck when I level up. And then their mana cost will go up with this. And that's not good, because these cost 0, and I want them to cost 0, not 3. Although, like, if I was going to equate what an Arcane Missile's worth mana-wise, it's probably worth about 3 or 2 mana or something like that. Probably 3 mana. It'd be like a 3 mana-ish spell. But if I don't have to pay 3 mana, why should I? So, Crystal Clear is... we have bonus round, where... whenever you level up, you summon 2 Walking Blind Dates. If anyone's watched this in the series, I've already talked about what this is. It's just free mana, basically. Kind of helps apply pressure to your opponents and stuff. And this one's kind of new. So we add 2 Brothers of Light, or add a Brothers of Light card to your deck. It costs 3 mana. Reset the cooldown on Armor of Light whenever you play a spell. So basically, Brothers of Light is a 10 mana card, but it only costs 3 mana. So you get a 7 mana discount card in your deck, which is really strong. And Brothers of Light, basically it shows kind of here, like it shows Brothers of Light. They have 600 health and it shows a DPS of 50. Or basically they have a big mace and they swing it every 3 seconds and do 150 damage. And then they have this little thing called Armor of Light. And Armor of Light's this like, it's probably easier to explain. Whoops, not that. Easier to explain this if I go and actually show you what the actual card is. So we just go all the way to the end here. Alright. So Brothers of Light, this is the actual card here. They normally cost 10, but that relic will give us one that costs 3. The Brothers of Light here, so you see they've got 600 health for each unit. So they've got solid health between both of them. They do pretty solid damage at 150 every 3 seconds. It's kind of similar to what a Cleaver is. It's just like a toned down melee attack. It's also similar to Cleaver in like how when Cleaver runs into something, it swings. There's like no attack delay. Attack delay is like a hidden thing that isn't shown here. Where like whenever something comes in range, it has a delay for the initial attack before the attack attack cooldown starts. So like whenever it first runs into melee at something, this doesn't wait 3 seconds to swing its first hit. It swings right away, or like maybe 0.05 seconds or something to its attack delay. So that's like a different mechanic. That's kind of something that is important. So like a unit with like a high attack delay is this Colossalus here, where he attacks every 4 seconds, but like his attack delay is 4 seconds. It's not like he gets in melee range and he does that big swing right away. He has to wait 4 seconds. Because if he did that big swing right away, this guy would be really absurd. He is pretty strong as it is, but like if you had that, like you couldn't, it'd be bad. So that's kind of just like a hidden thing. Basically, Cleaver has like no attack delay, neither do these, which is kind of something to note. As soon as something gets in melee range, they just bop it right away. And that's just a random spew about something that's pretty minor. So what I wanted to talk about was his Armor of Light here. So whenever this guy takes, one of these brothers take damage, their armor glows and it will blow up in a radius of 4 around them, and it deals 75 damage to everything and has a cooldown of 12 seconds. So every 12 seconds this is reset. So kind of what makes these guys nice is they're kind of useful against multiple like melee, like they're melee units, but they have multiple tools to help them deal with things. Where against like things with higher health, they actually just deal high damage with that. And then normally, but with this attack where they attack only in 3 seconds, they can be kind of vulnerable to swarms in a way, because it takes them a long time to cut through the swarms, and the swarms will have a lot of time to deal damage to them. But with this Armor of Light, it blows up and deals damage in the radius and knocks stuff back. So basically, like if they get, it's like a swarm comes up to them, the Armor of Light pops. 75 damage will kill pretty much any swarm unit. And yeah, turns out that's pretty good. So basically, now that we know kind of like what Armor of Light and stuff is, we can go back here. Nope, not that. Adventures. So basically, it has this little stipulation: resets the cooldown Armor of Light whenever you play a spell. So basically, I can change, like I can arcane missiles, and if their Armor of Light blew up, it resets, and then it can blow up again when they take damage again. But anyways, this is what I'm taking. That was a lot of explanations for something that probably didn't need to explain that much, but you know, I feel like it's nice explaining stuff for people who don't really understand anything about this game. So now we get, every time we progress, we get to pick cards. So here, I'm not super thrilled about anything I have. Crystal-wise is like your Crystal Elf faction cards. Legendaries, just legendary cards in general. So these are nice here, which I'll kind of go and explain here, but these will help deal with big units, which I think I need for the later part of the game, so I'm probably taking that. And then there's stunning, where it's just units that have stun, like the stun keyword, basically. Like this spell damages and stuns units, and it stuns units for 2 seconds, and it's chain lightning, it changes between a bunch of dudes and stuns them. And this guy, whenever he takes damage, whenever he takes damage by melee attacks, it does 75 counter damage to him and stuns them for 3 seconds. He's a really solid unit. That's like stunning, that's like just a theme. There's cards that, as it turns out, just stuns just a strong thing, because nullifying your opponent's thing is nice, as it turns out. So Crystallize is like kind of like what I already kind of have. I already have like some Crystal Elf like theme stuff. But these two units, particularly here, I'm not crazy about. So Armored Defenders is 2 Crystal Constructs. And while you don't have Mana Surge, they sit there and they have this dormant thing. So basically it says it's literally a building and cannot attack or move. So they kind of function as like a wall. And they have a duration of 20 seconds. So while they're there and dormant, they slowly burn away their 800 health. And if they're dormant the whole time, basically that 800 health per each one will be burned away over 20 seconds and then they'll die. That's kind of how buildings work in this game. So you can't just place buildings that are there forever, because that would be kind of ridiculous if you played buildings and they would never go away. But once you have Mana Surge active, they awaken and they become active, and when they're active, they're not burning away their health with this dormant thing. So yeah, that's kind of like that. So 1 Crystal Construct costs 5 mana, so you kind of look at this, only costs 6 and you're getting 2 Crystal Constructs, and that's actually pretty good. You get a lot of... This is nice because a thing you can kind of do with Crystal Elves is you can do like split lane push, where you pressure both lanes, and this is a good unit. You wait until you have 10 mana, and then there's this thing with mana in this where you can wait a little bit after you get 10 mana to where you play a card and you're immediately at 6. So that's kind of nice. So you can wait until you're at 11 mana, kind of, even though you can never actually officially have 11 mana. Play this, they'll sit, you can split both of them, and then you have a crystal construct bushing both lanes. And that's pretty strong. You kind of have to wait till later in the game when your mana, because as you level up throughout the match, your mana generation increases too. So that's just kind of like a thing to note. I don't know if it's as you level up or if it's as every so many minutes. I think it's as the time goes on in the game, mana generation progressively gets faster. You know, kind of like slow paced, and then it leads into kind of a more fast paced thing. Kind of the idea behind it, I believe. So yeah. And then the nice thing about this is once both these crystal constructs die, you'll get 2 mana back eventually, because whenever a crystal construct is gain 1 mana on death. So these things can be used as like an emergency wall, because between both of them, you're getting 1600 health, and that's a lot of blockage for you. And if you're only paying what is technically like 4 mana for like a 16 health wall, that might be a card that's played. Sometimes it's worth it just to block that much. So yeah, that's kind of what this card is. It's kind of a unique card and how it functions. There's nothing else really like it. And it plays around with that mana surge thingy. And then we've got another crystal elf spell. So this is one of the mana free spells. This spell is pretty powerful. Basically, it sucks everything in a little vortex, as it's called. Lilith's, however you pronounce that. Vortex. And it does up to 80 damage. Basically, the closer they are to center, the more damage it does. It lasts 5 seconds. And has a radius of 7. The most unique thing with this is it moves units, and there's not a lot of effects in this game that can move units around. And sometimes just, you know, changing the position of stuff's nice. This is really nice if you have a guy with like an AoE attack there attacking. You pull everything together and you know, really close, and then that guy with the AoE attack can just sit there and murder everything even better. So yeah, that's nice. So knowing kind of like how this goes and stuff, like this, you could take this and be okay, but I really want these guys, because this guy can immobilize a unit indefinitely, and I'm going to run into a point later in the game where this guy will be really great, because it'll help me, you know, kind of put a band-aid fix on a problem and give me time to deal with it later, because he'll sit above it, float it, attack down, and whenever his attacks immobilize enemies for 6 seconds, and that's just powerful to keep something there from moving, because there will be shit that's big and scary, and I'm like, oh, that's a problem. Well, this guy's the answer, kind of. And then the other answer is Ghost, where I can just steal them big scary units. You know, it possesses an enemy, turn it to your size, and it becomes cursed. So you essentially kill it, you get it for free, which is really strong. But it becomes cursed, so it slowly dies. But Ghost is a really powerful unit. When it's used in the right scenario, it can like literally win and lose games. Or it can literally win games, not so much lose. But yeah, it's got 400 health. Basically, the thing is, it costs 4, it's got 100 health, and it targets air and flying. Basically, you play Ghost there. He just kind of floats along until he finds a unit, and then he'll start his little attack. So after 3.5 seconds, he'll possess it and take control of it. So you just gotta know when the position is right. But I'm gonna take that because I really like those units. Alright, so we've got Paul the Twisted. It seems a Stout Heart's made it all the way out here for some reason. This Stout Heart seems possessed. You don't understand. There is no denying her. She is in my head. She must be obeyed. I must fight you. That's the Witch Queen. She basically drove Paul crazy. And Paul's here to try to murder us with his big axe. And basically, when he levels up, he just gives his Stout Heart cards, and his deck costs 1 less. So he just gives himself some discounts. Just generically okay. But Paul's unfortunately going to have a bad day. Probably die horribly. But, you know, that's what it is. That's how it goes. Although he's really got a really nice pose there. You know, for as crazy as he is, he's really posing for it. Alright, so here's where Ghost is good. So that guy costs 5, so using Ghost to steal, that's nice. So Ghost is just going to get there, kind of give him a hug, he's like changing his mind, and he's like, boom, now he's dying. And the opponent played a spell to try to kill a Ghost, but they were way too slow on it. So you see, even though he's mine, he's slowly killing himself because of the curse effect. Yeah, but he'll still go up there and he'll start smacking Paul. Yeah, that's just nice. So basically I killed it for free and got a little bit of extra value out of it. So that's where Ghost is really strong. So this is that Brothers of Light. So, cost 4? So that description was misleading on this relic. This doesn't cost 3 mana, it costs 4 mana less. Whatever. Alright, so now, this guy's Armor of Light, refreshed right there. That's kind of what the spell does. So Arcane Bolt wouldn't be bad on this guy, but I have nothing attacking him. He has 600 health. Well, he has a lot more than 600 health now because of that little thing. Alright, so this is where Snake Druid's another good unit. So he's just going to kind of deal with this problem for me. Now he's just going to sit there, and then I don't have to worry about him anymore. Because he's stuck. He can't move. His guy's here's like, haha, get shit on, bitch. Alright, so... I should not waste mana. There you go. Problem solved. So I can just Arcane Bolt that to kill that. So basically, he knows the Arcane Bolt shows that little X there. That means it's going to kill the unit. So if you're not really sure of when it has 500 health or doesn't, that's kind of a thing to know. Like, see, it shows the little X there. It will kill that one or that one. Still kills it. Now I'll wait for a unit that has more than that much health and show you kind of like it won't kill it. That's kind of like a little nice thing they added with this spell. So if you're not sure exactly, because each bar there, so that guy has 125 health-ish. So he's going to do 150 damage and still kill it. So I need to play these archers here to kill these stupid annoying owls. And it looks like Paul's getting kind of overwhelmed by the big manliness of these Brothers of Light. The Brothers of Lights are no joke. They hurt. And there goes Paul. Sorry, Paul, you picked a bad time to become twisted. But who cares? Well, I mean, he probably cares. And there's the unit Paul was. Woodsman. Alright, so now this time. So basically, every other win, it's Relic, then Campfire, then Relic. And Campfire, you can get this different effects. So like I can train the troops, reduce the cost of a card in your deck by 2. So earlier this is better, later this isn't as good because your deck gets more cards in it, so it's harder to play this card that costs 2 less over and over. And basically you pick one of 3 cards, so like if I pick this, 3 cards will pop up. Like it could be Snake Druid, Archers, and Crystal Sentry, and just be like, I'll make Snake Druid cheaper, so it'll cost 1 for the rest of the game. Got Color Inks, I can remove 2 cards. So sometimes, as you notice, like you have 3 brackets of cards, sometimes you take cards you're not super crazy about. If I was going to do this, I really don't want to cut anything, because like everything's okay. If I was going to do Color Inks, I might cut Last Stand, because I don't have any Empyrean synergy or anything. Last Stand and maybe Warrior. Just kind of cut the Empyreans out of the deck. Like Warrior's alright. Probably Last Stand. I mean, it is a spell. And it is really good with Arcane Overcharge. I don't know. It's hard to just know on that, basically. So, whenever you don't really, or when you're not crazy about this, I'm never really crazy about trainer troops. I always like digging for treasure, because treasures are fun. So, Arcane Golem's pretty strong with us, because in the normal game, Milloween is actually, this is actually her unit, her special card she gets. And like, basically, these are 3 cards from specific masters. Like, Setsu's level 2 is this card right here. This gets added to her deck, and it cycles throughout. Where if you watched the last episode, you got to see what this did and stuff, so I'm not going to explain this much. And then you get Tombstone, which is Mordor's special card, where he gets a 0 mana wall that's got a lot of health. So sometimes just 0 mana for a quick 400 blocker or wall is really nice. But it also has this effect of the next minion that dies is resurrected by this. And unless it's Mythic. Mythic is an important thing to note with this, because Mythic, the unit doesn't die, quote unquote. So it doesn't get resurrected by this Tombstone. So, yeah. So basically, if I have this Tombstone sitting down, it takes 8 seconds to get activated, so you see how that fills up. Basically, if my unit dies before this, if I have a unit die before this is all the way filled up, it won't resurrect until now it would resurrect. So basically, I place this somewhere, it takes a couple seconds, fills back up, and say, I have the Snake Druid die. Well, the Snake Druid will spawn at where the Tombstone's at. So that's really strong with Tombstones. You basically want to try to get, like Crystal Sentry wouldn't be bad, but you want bigger units to do that. And I don't have that. Even though I don't have good synergies with it, it still isn't a bad card by any means. But I'm going to take this Crystal Golem, because as it is right now, so it's a 2 mana unit. It's got 250 health, does 30 damage, and attacks every 1.3 seconds. It's got a speed of 4, and it's got attack range of 8. So this stats, as it is for a 2 mana card, is really strong. Like this, just as a baseline, no other 2 mana card is going to be this strong. This is kind of like a 3 mana card almost. Like if you had a 3 mana unit, it might have these stats, or close to it. Like 3.5, maybe. Something like that. That's kind of hard to say. exactly. But it also has this effect of whenever you cast a spell, it gets plus 30 health and 5 damage. Now this can stack up to 10 times. After your 10th spell you play while this thing's alive, it won't stack any higher. So basically, the maximum this can get is 550 health, or it can get plus 300 health, and it can get a plus an extra 50 damage, or it can do 80 damage a shot. And if it's stacked up to that, that's really strong. You know, getting 550 health and 80 damage here for a 2-mana card. It turns out it's pretty good. Hey, this unit's been changed a lot in history. It used to cost 3, and the scaling was higher, but basically it was really absurd in late game, I think. So that's why they scaled it down. So basically, that's irrelevant to this, so yeah. So I want to play this because I get a pretty efficient unit, and I'm going to be having spells. I want to pick up more spells, and I get these free arcane missiles, and those are good. So I'm going to take that. Alright, and right here we've got some mini magic, and that's probably what or we got summoning too. Summoning's good. So the thing that's nice about summoning spells is I can just play this whenever and not feel too sad about it, because it just summons guys. So Raging Reinforcements is a period defensive spell. Now the thing to know with defensive spells, that can only be played on your half and not your opponent's half. So this summons a Dragon Whelp, a Warrior, or 4 crossbow dudes and gives them Rage. So basically, this is like a 3-mana unit, this is the 3-mana unit, and 4 crossbow dudes is not a unit, but it would be about a 3-mana unit, probably. And they get Rage, so they get plus 50% attack damage. So this is just pretty generically good. It shows you which one it will be. It randomly switches. So I play this. It's a Dragon Whelp, and then when I play it again, it could be a Dragon Whelp, or it could switch to one of the other two. It's just kind of random. But it will show you which one it is before you play it, so it's not like you play it and you really want crossbow dudes, but you get a Dragon Whelp, and then you're sad. But that doesn't happen. It actually tells you. And then Infiltration. Now this is a unique summoning spell that this can be summoned anywhere on the arena, and that's pretty strong. And 4 Plasma Marines are pretty strong. The only weakness with this is that the 4 Plasma Marines are bunched up pretty close, so they're really vulnerable to AoE when they are initially summoned. So that's just one thing to note. But you can also like play this in the center and split them to take both bridges. Basically, 2 Plasma Marines is 3 mana, and they're worth it at 3 mana. Like, they're a good 3 mana card. So you're kind of getting a 1 mana discount that can be played anywhere. So Infiltration's a good spell. Well, it's good when played right, basically. You got buildings here, so Bridge Shrine gives me experience, so I leveled up faster if I control a bridge. And then Swarmer Totem just summons guys. But I don't really care about this. I want it's even between mini magic or summoning. So basically, the nice thing with like Arcane Golem is it doesn't care how expensive the spell is. It just says when you cast a spell. So getting cheaper spells is nice to scale this guy faster. So basically, Bridge Buddies, as its name suggests, it takes both bridges. So basically, you summon a Scrat on both bridges, and if I already own the bridge, the Scrat gains Barrel Shield. So it's a Barrel Scrat. Well, it's just like a little extra, like, if I'm just cycling this, I get a little bit of, extra value out of just a little bit of a stronger unit. But yeah, it's great for taking bridges, and Scratches themselves are pretty low value, but, I guarantee, basically, they'll literally burrow all the way underground until they pop up at the bridge, and they give you the bridge, and that's pretty good, as it turns out. And Poison Strike's a pretty good, I like Poison Strike as a spell. So basically, in a pretty big radius, it inflicts poison, and poison does 10 damage every 0.5 seconds. So every second, it does 20 damage. So kind of how this works, so the duration is really important with how much damage this spell does. So this is 6.5 seconds. So 6 seconds, it's 120 damage, but it's 6.5. So this actually does 130 damage over the duration of that to a radius of 6.5. And that's a lot of damage for 3 mana in that radius. And there's a castaway, kind of like Fireball and stuff. It's a little bit faster than Fireball. But this is nice. It's a good swarm killer. It's good at killing flying units because 130 damage will even put a big hindrance on a lot of fire units, like killing almost half of it or completely outright killing them. So that's kind of nice. And it's good against swarms. So yeah, just generically okay spell. I like Poison Strike. Looking at the spells I have here, I think I will take this because I kind of want to pick up the Poison Strike. Alright, so Ghost. Why does it have to be Ghost? So now we're fighting Ghost. I actually have the Ghost unit, so you can kind of get an idea of what this does. So now that since this Ghost is the master, whenever my unit walks, so like say I got Warrior up there and they start beating on this tower, the Ghost after 3.5 seconds will take control of it and give it Cursed. So this master is kind of scary because it just steals your units. Now it's only got melee range, which is nice, so ranged units can just sit there and do free damage to it, not have to worry about it. Alright, so what's Ghost's ability? So a Ghostly Present. Whenever an opponent plays a 5 mana value higher, a 5+ mana minion, it summons a ghost opposite of it. So this is annoying. So see, the kind of funny thing is about this is this actually does nothing for me, but sometimes this is really annoying because, oh, I've got 5 mana guys. Now whenever I play it, my opponent summons a 4 mana card that I've got to be very cautious of, because if it works, it's a problem. So basically it becomes really annoying, but basically his first level is really sad for him because I actually have no 5 mana minions. I have 4/4 and then it goes to 7. But that's a spell that summons guys. And then level 2 he gets a free Cursed Fireball. Add the card Cursed Fireball to their hands. I'm pretty sure Cursed Fireball just costs 0 normally. So that's pretty whatever. Then Mass Possession, gain control of all minions in play. Okay, so when he hits level 3, if I have a big push going, it's just instantly against me. So that can be really scary. Again, this is only the second or third encounter. So they probably won't make it to level 3, but I can also be cautious of this one. Like, oh hey, they're getting really close to 3rd level. I can just, you know, play enough to where I don't die and then wait for 3rd level to come. And yeah. So that's the ghost. This shouldn't be that scary, but they're probably going to have a bunch of ghost units themselves and stuff. Hunting Huggers.
It's on!
So this is what Bridge Buddies does. Just play it. Boom, now I have both bridges. And then these guys, you know, Scrats, they're gonna die, but... So if you notice, the ghost there started to try to possess that, but, you know, it takes a couple seconds to possess this, any unit in the Scrat, isn't really a unit to be scared of. So you notice here their health is slowly draining because of that Cursed Fireball. He naturally has some in his deck. So there's a ghost there, but he's just going to kill the ghost. That was one of the units he has. But that's this crystal, or this arcane golem here. Actually, arcane golem's kind of scary in this because of this essence transfer. So that's kind of cool. Although, see, notice that little number above it? That's basically how many stacks this spell it has. So I'm just going to cast this here. Now it goes up to 1. See, it got a little bit bigger and stuff. Ghost can't do anything about it, so it's just going to sit there and be sad. So I should be playing spells. So now I got it at 3, so it's just a little bit stronger, and then it died. Oh, I guess I had that. Oops. Poison Strike here to kill some of the annoying flying shit. Alright, so Brothers of Light was actually kind of just a bad card to play there because they're not good against what this master is doing. Another ghost. So you want to know what happens when you ghost a ghost? What? Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, that's what happens. I actually wasn't sure. I wanted to do science. Do you see how that guy kind of just died there and had a heart attack? Basically, the curse killed him. It's not like these guys got hit by a Cursed Fireball. Their health slowly going to drain. But they have really low health as it is, so that's okay. That's kind of a nice thing about Bridge Buddies, that you can use it as like a mini distracted. So these archers got to do a little bit more damage there because of that. Although I put them out of Mana Frenzy, so I really don't know if I did more damage there. But whatever. So I can play this.
That tower looks pretty roughed up.
And he's not going to be able to do anything about it because he said. So Snake Druid's actually really strong with my 2nd level Arc Crystal Escort. Where I summoned a ranged unit with it, and basically ranged units can just sit there and beat on the melee unit for free, and makes them really sad. There's Lightning Bolt. Loading, please hit. Alright, so we get another relic. So we got Crystal Clear. So bad, bad, bad. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Good. Kind of. Mediocre, good, mediocre, good, mediocre, good. Very good. So bad. Through the Nether, whenever you cast 3 minions in a row, all my minions get teleported forward a little bit, and they get rage. The problem is with Minion is I have lots of spells, so playing 3 minions in a row is actually going to be difficult, and probably not worth the effort. So these two are just... So that leads to the defenses, which is actually a good one. So summon a warrior every time your master takes 200 damage within 5 seconds. So basically... Once something comes up to me and I start dying horribly, this is kind of a way to help me not die, and it turns out that's pretty good. Alright, so we've got more mini magic. We've got an Empyrean Army. There's nothing that actually has the Empyrean Army trait. So these are just generic, okay, units that don't have any like special synergies or anything. That's kind of like Empyrean's thing. They just got efficient guys, kind of. I think efficient warrior, you know, 400 health, 70 damage every 2 seconds. Really solid unit for 3 mana. And then you got crossbow dude. Just solid range guys that are cheap. Then we've got buildings. So we've got wall, or the literal wall, where you play it. It's got 700 health, the last 30 seconds. It's a really good distraction. Also says here it's a perfect distraction for building haters. It doesn't have to necessarily be building haters, but it's also really, really good against those. Yeah, that's wall. And we've got call to arms, which is really bad with what I have going on here. Basically, so it's 5 mana. You get 1 warrior just for free, or not free. You pay 5. You get 1 warrior, so you're getting 3 mana back. So you got a 5 mana warrior here. Buy your master tower and replace each of your non-master buildings with a warrior. So basically, if I have wall sitting there, let's say wall tanked a little bit and walls doesn't have much health left, I can play this, and this wall will turn into a warrior. So actually, if I have wall out and got some value out of wall, call to arms isn't bad because I'll summon 3 mana worth of, or 6 mana's worth of warrior. I'll get 2 warriors. So that's kind of something. But I have no other buildings, and waiting to get this together is too long and not worth it. I got mini magic here, so I got more bridge buddies. Bridge buddies is good with spell synergy stuff. And then Ravenous Swarmers is a really high damage unit. So if the last card I played was a spell, they gain Rage and Haste. And for a swarm unit, they already do pretty decent damage. So these guys will do absurdly high damage. Now they're not real tanky or anything, but with the haste, they're really fast at speed 10. So basically, you play a spell, and where you need damage, you play these guys, they'll rush up to it and start smacking the shit out of whatever they need to do. So Ravenous Swarmers is a really good thing with my spell stuff. So I'm going to take that. So we got Angry Elemental, big blue guy, big blue golem wakes up here. He's big, he's scary, he's got plants growing all over him, and he's got a pretty nice grass beard going on there. So Angry Elemental, suddenly the stone beneath your feet starts to shift. You have disturbed something ancient and angry. Oh no. So this thing's melee attack is really strong, and it's going to... Really, I have nothing that is really super weak against this thing's melee attack, but this could also be one of them units, because this unit here normally costs 7 mana, and part of its cost is its auto attack that does absurd load damage. But I've got a lot of range stuff here, and kind of just like swarmy type stuff, so I can just shoot him, and it won't be that bad. So what's his level up? So every time he levels up, he's got Ancient Summonings, and summons a random minion from both masters' decks. So basically, he's got expensive cards. I don't have much expensive cards. It's going to summon a unit, so it's never going to hit the 7 mana spell. The best thing it could hit for me is Crystal Sentry or Ghost, and Ghost is one of them things where it's even really good. You got to time it. It's all about timing with Ghost, basically. So like the best I could get is Crystal Sentry, but I'll probably summon... Not like Arcane Golem actually wouldn't be terrible because of how strong it is. It's a treasure card, so yeah. Got Warrior, you know, like I have nothing great. It's gonna always be better for my opponent because he could probably summon a blue golem with this, and basically he'd get 7 mana where I would get like 3 mana, and he would get like a 5 mana. Like he'd get like a 4 mana saving values. Either way, he's not super scary. He's gonna have some big cards, but I've actually got some tools to deal with big guys, so it's not too bad. Normally, sometimes this master has problems with really big high health guys, especially in this game mode. Because of the essence transfer, the big guys become extra scary. So I can just play this there. It's gonna start shooting that. Maybe Snake Druid. Now he attacks too, so he won't immobilize anytime. So yeah, Snake Druid will just immobilize that guy, and I never have to worry about that blue golem again. Actually, it's probably worth casting Ghost on. So there you go. He leveled up there. He summoned the blue golem, and I got another golem, which is actually pretty sick. My opponent's in for a bad time. So if you see here, this doesn't actually kill it. When I play it, it's going to stun. So okay, it just killed it. Got it. Goodbye, blue gold. So now these Brothers of Light are really strong, but his attacks are so strong, he's actually going to be able to kill them Brothers of Light pretty efficiently. They're still going to do damage to him. But now my opponent's in a really bad spot here, where I can just cycle spells, and these guys get stronger, and stronger, and stronger, and they're just going to kill him super hard. Play some Ravenous Swarmers. That's Ravenous Swarmers. They move pretty fast, and you're not going to be able to see the kind of damage they can output there. But unfortunately for Blue Golem there, I have a really good setup to deal with him, so he's just kind of like, well, I was an angry elemental, now I'm just a sad elemental. Alright, so now we get campsite, or fire. So now we can do call the ranks, dig for treasure or rest. Rest, I don't know if it was available last time, but basically if I ever have a match where I take damage, I can heal 1500 and increase my health by 500 permanently. It's not really worth it for the health. Call the ranks, I have enough cards now to where I might want to consider getting rid of stuff to be more concentric with like my strategy around Arcane Golem and Ravenous Swarmers are like the best cards in my deck. So I have cards that are like not as great to where I might want to get rid of them. So like if I was going to do Call the Ranks, I might get rid of a Bridge Buddies because I don't need 2 of them. Because it's like, I mean it's a nice spell, but 2 of them, I get rid of probably a Bridge Buddies and I might consider a Warrior. I'm not sure. It probably would be those 2. But I really like treasure, so let's go digging. Alright, so we got set 2 here again with Blast Entry. We got the actual Cursed Fireball. So interesting to note is even though this is a treasure, there's no actual master that has this card. It's still King Puff, it's just Fireball but recolored green. And I know that this says it does 170 damage, but it doesn't. It just, in this radius of 4.5, it applies all enemy minions in the impact area are cursed. So basically, this is nice against another tool that's nice against expensive big units that usually have lots of health. Is I can just cast this for 0, curse the unit, and it's just going to take 3% of its max health and damage every second until it dies. And that's really strong. Tombstone is nice, but I don't really have... Like, it's like Arcane Golem's actually not bad with Tombstone, even though Arcane Golem only costs 2, but Arcane Golem's a really powerful card that can scale up. And it's like it's okay with a lot of these, but I got some Scrats in here and some like Crystal Archers and stuff and Swarmers. It was not good to get those back. I might actually go with Blast Entry because I've got enough tools. Like I've got Ghost, Snake Druid, and Arcane Bolt to kind of help me put a pause on big things that are a problem. So I'm gonna take Blast Entry because my Master's auto attack isn't that strong anyways. So not having my Master available for defense whenever I'm trying to use Setsu for offense or defense isn't that big of a deal. So we've got Mega Magic. I get another Arcane Missile in my deck. Okay, so this is kind of fun here. So we get Dragon's Nest, which is another spell synergy card. I can get another Bridge Buddies. And, well, you know, whatever. It's a recycle card. But Dragon's Nest is kind of this fun card. You play it back, and every time you cast a spell, you summon a Flightless Dragon. Or if it was a 4-mana more spell, you get a Dragon Whelp, which is the same thing as a Flightless Dragon, but it flies, and it flying is a lot better than it not flying. I'm going to go with this. We're going to poop out some dragons. Alright, so encounter 5 of 9. Seeking Void Portal. A voiceless sound carries from the void. It scratches at the walls of your mind, drilling deep. We have come for the fallen one. The sentence repeats again and again. Alright, so basically this Void Portal pops out of nowhere, and Void shit starts coming out of it. Turns out Voidborn stuff's kind of scary. So this thing actually doesn't have an attack, which is kind of an interesting thing to know. A lot of your opponents usually have some kind of attack that they try to retaliate. This thing doesn't. But its first level is, it summons a Swarmer each time it takes damage. So, you know, I've got things shooting it, Swarmers just start shitting out of it. So that's kind of a problem. Its second level is pretty strong where it gets 1 Craggle Doomcleaver. And Craggle Doomcleaver is an 8-mana card, and it costs 0, so he gets a free 0-mana card in his deck. And that's a problem. It can be pretty scary. The AI is probably never going to play Craggle to be super scary, especially against my deck. There's, like, Craggle is pretty good against the Crystal Sentry and maybe the Arcane Golem if it's, like, at level 1 or 2. Other than that, Craggle is not really great against my deck. It's also can one-shot Setsu, I guess, is that something, but it's not super scary. I've got a bunch of tools to help make it easy. And then this last one, Seeds of Corruption. All of your opponent's minions have turncode. So basically, once my unit hits 50% health, so like this warrior here has 400 health. So once she hits 200 health, she'll actually turn against me with turncode. That's what turncode is. So that's really scary, Seeds of Corruption. But again, enough of my units are kind of low health and range to where them getting turncode isn't the worst. And I've got a lot of spells, kind of. Not, well, arcane missiles and stuff to help kill shit. So, this shouldn't be too bad. Sometimes at the later level, this one can be scary. like, I might get to the point where I actually take some damage from this thing. It just kind of depends on the basic game and stuff. We'll see. We'll just bridge buddies because that. All right, so that's kind of this is unit with turncoat. So once this hits half health, it's just gonna boom switch. Now it's mine. Nah, I'm just gonna take the damage from it. So he's got this units that just beeline straight for my master and start hitting it for damage. So you see, I kind of summoned some warriors there, so that's nice. Got Incubus. I'm just gonna do this to kill that Incubus. 5 Incubus. So you notice here, these things are just doing damage to it and not doing anything. Now the Swarmers are gonna start shitting out of it. Oh yeah, look at all them guys. So I'm gonna split these guys because I'm gonna need them to kill the army of Swarmers that's about to come out. So yeah, that's kind of scary. But it's half health, so there's that too. But look, that armor of light there, just all over them things. So I can just arcane missiles to kill that off. Okay, so Ghost, really good against Colossalus. Well, Colossus is going to get us a little bit of value out of fighting this Brother of Light mostly. So that's kind of sad, but I still killed the Colossus. You know, I got like, 2/3 of a Colossus there, so that's nice. So I don't have to deal with that now. So got Ravenous Swarmers, so you can just kind of get an idea of how good Ravenous Swarmers are here. They're just going to absolutely destroy. Look at all that damage they do. They're not real tough themselves. So I'm just going to do that so I don't take damage from it. So now I finally got my Crystal Golem. Or Arcane. Is it Crystal? Okay. Alright. So I want to play some spells here to buff up this Crystal Golem a little bit. And, well, even though I missed, I wanted to kill them. Whittle down them units. So Incubus here is really good against Last Stand, so I don't really want to play it. So I'm just going to play this here and... Alright, so I'm going to play Setsu here, and hopefully Setsu will kill this stupid Dragon Whelp eventually. No, maybe not. I'm going to wait until I cycle the board my free arcane missiles before I play this. I'm just going to... Oh, I think that hit the Bruise Betrayer. I wanted to use it on the Succubus. Setsu is really big here because she's been killing units and getting health. And kind of the funny thing with this effect is whenever the units die, they get bigger. Or whenever they eat the essence. The Setsu is extra thick. Master might actually die here because they've got kind of a nicely push here. Okay, the Swarmers are kind of... I played Magma Storm. So that's what that does. Shoots out little Dragon Whelps. Normally, if you in the game when you play that spell, you actually play that with Millowing because she gets free arcane missiles and she cares about spells and stuff. That's kind of like the. You even use that with Setsu, who kind of cares about spells later levels, or Millowing, in like the actual game. All right, so we got in my bow. So whenever I play a Crystal Elf minion, I summon a Crystal Archer. So I've got 1, 2, 3 Crystal Elf units. So that's a little bit of extra value, but not what I'm looking for in my relic. I can start with 20 extra XP, so I pretty much start automatically at level 1. So that's kind of nice. Head start's pretty decent. Or I get bonus rounds where I get just extra free mana throughout the course of the game on my opponent. I like getting these two together because if you have head start and bonus round, you literally, when a game starts, you get 2 of these walking blind dates, and that's pretty strong. It gives you a nice head start against the opponent's a little bit of advantage they get. And then I'm going to go with a bonus round. You could do either there. So we got more mini magic. I got Daggerfall. So Daggerfall is kind of like a Poison Strike, but it's instant, where Poison Strike's slower. Daggerfall is instant 80 damage. And it can also hit the Master Tower, which is sometimes, doing the damage to the Master Tower. Like, sometimes 80 damage kills the enemy. Usually not, though. I think it has a little bit of a bigger radius. But yeah. It kind of serves the same purpose as Poison Strike. It's just a little bit of a different flavor. It's got a smaller radius. This one's more damage but slower, and this one's just bigger area but instant damage. Now, Stun Blast, it only stuns, but it stuns for 5 seconds and a radius of 4. It's pretty powerful because I've got a bunch of stuff fighting. I can just Stun Blast it, and it's a really bad time for your enemies. Got some more crystallized here. We haven't seen this in a little bit. So we got High Mage Lilo here. Basically, she's like a unique character in the Crystal Elf faction. She's like an arcane, Crystal Arcanist, but you know, like the super variant of it. So she's got this mana freeze too. I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. The reason why she's got mana freeze is because she only costs 3 here, but she actually is like pretty strong, like really strong stats for a 3-cost card. So she actually costs 5. She's got that mana surge. She's got this special effect of while mana surge is active, she absorbs 50% of range attacks and sends it back to the attacker. So basically, you've got a sniper scrat. He does 100 damage whenever he shoots, and he has 50 health. So basically, she'll take 50 damage from that sniper shot, and then she'll reflect 50 damage back to that sniper scrat and skill the sniper scrat. So that's where that effect's pretty powerful. Basically gives her double health against ranged units. And her stats as it is, she's got 170 health, so she doesn't die to fireball, but basically does. But she's also got a pretty solid auto attack. She does 40 damage every 2 seconds, and she's got a radius, so she does a little arcane explosion. She's got solid range, so she's just a solid unit. Pretty good. Also, there's the art, if anyone wanted to look at that, because, you know, someone was paid money to make that, and that looks pretty cool. And then we've got the Dormant Defenders again. I don't have enough, I'm not super hard on, like, the mana search strategy, to where I think I like this enough. So it's between more spells, and I think I'm going to go with spells that summon stuff, so I don't lock myself super hard with spells that I can't play and just get immediate value out of. Like, for me to get value out of Poison Strike and Chain Lightning, my opponent has to play stuff, which they will be. But, you know, there's certain scenarios where sometimes Poison Strike on a certain unit is just bad. Like, if I Poison Strike Warrior, that's a bad use of Poison Strike. Now, if I Poison Strike, like, Warrior, like, Crystal Archers plus, like, Warrior, now that's good, but you don't always get that scenario. So we'll just go with this. So Cheese Day just as summons random scrats and they get rage. And an infiltration, I've talked about that already. Alright, so now we've got Braha the Witch Wolf. So this guy's always pretty funny. So the description here is, a dark crystal is bound to this beast's flesh. It seems to control it. Perhaps destroying the crystal will set it free and let you pass. So he's got a really strong auto attack where he does high damage in a little area. So that's because he normally is a 7 mana unit. So you gotta keep that in mind that he's pretty strong against. He just does a lot of damage. So what's his level 1? Well, his level 1 is Equal Opportunity Lycanthrope. So basically all units get Lycanthropy. So once they hit half health, they turn into werewolves. So there's gonna be a bunch of werewolves. This is a unit. This is a mirrored effect. Depending on the deck, this can really be bad for him, where he gets overwhelmed with werewolves. So that's kind of funny. Mirrored effect. It doesn't. It's like if I have swarm units, this is just bad for my opponent because my bad units get upgraded into werewolves, or my good units get downgraded into werewolves. That's kind of a interesting ability. His level 2 here is can attack. Basically, his range gets increased by 5. I think his base range is about 8. So he can attack pretty far, or, you know, sharpshooter, as it says. So that's pretty strong. Nothing, like, overwhelming, though. The thing he has going for him is if he has multiple werewolves bunched up attacking him, he at least can kill them kind of fast with his attack. So there's that. And then his third level, to where this first one actually makes sense for him, is werewolves he controls gets rage and haste. So basically all of his werewolves become super juiced and super damaged. So yeah, this shouldn't be too bad, though. And you might get a funny scenario where there's an army of werewolves on the map. That's usually how it goes.
Throw down that face down.
Because he has that might thing, so he starts with 10 extra XP and gets his mana generation increased by 30. So basically every 1 mana I generate, he generates 1.3. But that's just to kind of make it challenging. Because sometimes the AI doesn't do great plays. Like the AI now is fine. They're taking the bridges, pressuring me with some just cheap units. Well, not cheap units. Oh, that Snake Druid was so sad. So this is where the Lycanthropy thing is going to be really good for me. Because all these guys are pretty likely to turn into werewolves because they have 160 health. And that's enough health to pretty likely actually hit half health and not die. So I'm just going to get a little army of werewolves here and just my opponent. Yeah, kind of like that. So that's where it becomes really sad for my opponent. All these Scrats have Lycanthropy, but they're Scrats, so they're gonna die in one hit. Oh my god, he fucked up horribly. So he played a thing that actually didn't one-shot the Scrats, and now there's an army of raged werewolves. Oh, why have you done this to yourself, Braha? So this is kind of the funny thing I was talking about with this guy, is sometimes that happens, and... well, he died in, you know, 1 minute 9 seconds, so R.I.P. Braha. AI. Never change. So yeah, that's kind of the thing he does. So we've got our final campfire, probably. Now we'll get one more. So we can call the ranks. So call the ranks at this point, since I've got so much stuff in my deck, I would like this more than treasure or rest. Alright, so we can just select 2 cards to remove. So I've got 3 bridge buddies. I really do not need 3 bridge buddies. And like cheese day, kind of good, Like I've got enough spells to wear Last Stand. Last Stand's been pretty good for me though. It's like the next one, I'm not blatantly obvious what I want to get rid of. Like Warrior is never terrible, you know. It's only terrible against other really powerful melee units that can just kind of shred it. Well, I guess let's see how many spells I have, and then we'll go from there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got 9 spells, so I'm gonna get 4 arcane missiles. So cutting another spell isn't terrible because it won't decrease the amount of arcane missiles I get. So I might actually just kill another bridge buddies here. I know it's a cheap spell, but eh. Alright, Sneaky Assassin. I have come for the fallen one. Its head will make the master pleased. His plans are all coming to fruition. You are all his pawns. So we've got a Sneaky Assassin here. So he's based off the Assassin unit. He does a lot of damage. The kind of a funny thing to note is he'll actually be stealth, so he'll disappear. Whenever he attacks from stealth, he does triple damage. So that's kind of a unique thing to note. He's got this fair trade, where basically whenever he levels up, we swap decks, and then we swap back, and then we swap back again. So it says fair trade. His deck's not bad. The thing to kind of note about it is like my discounted stuff, like this will go up in cost. Like all my special discount stuff goes away, and my decks. I'm kind of trying to go around this Arcane Golem the best I can. Arcane Golem, Ravenous Swarmers, and Dragon's Nest are kind of like my key cards because I got spell synergy stuff. So like I won't have that, and I'll have whatever spells he has, which is less. So there's whatever, less synergies. They'll also steal all my Arcane Missiles, and that will make me sad. But it's really not that big of a deal because their deck's
Throw
not
down
bad
those cards.
I must do my best.
Alright. We'll start with Infiltrate back here. Play this to take some damage. Well, that's one of the sadnesses of Infiltrate that... Okay, so now I have his deck. That normally only costs 1 mana for him for some reason. So yeah, they played the Setsu and... the best use of it. Well, if that ghost is going to take that warrior, I'm not sad. I'll play the free boomer back there. So yeah, the AI is goofy, and plays a building there, and that building was a really sad wall that didn't do anything. A walking blind egg. So if you kind of watch him here, he's going to do a bunch of damage. Cleaver's a good unit against that, so Cleaver makes it to... Oh, I got my Arcane Missiles. So now whenever he's fair trades back, I probably only got 1 Arcane Missile. Yeah, so basically instead of getting 4 Arcane Missiles, I've only got 1. So that's kind of like where he made me sad. But it turns out the AI playing my deck without the synergies of it. No, okay, that's a pretty good Ravenous Swarmers. They just shredded that Cleaver. Way to go about there to kill them Ravenous Swarmers. Pretty good unit to get out of that. Alright, so that's kind of scary. The Brother of the Lighter coming up here. So I'm going to play the Reboomer. But once it gets up there, it will hit both of them for a pretty hefty hit. I'll play this there to kind of... Okay, I split them up because of sadness. Well, the Reboomer didn't die, so that's kind of nice. Oh, that is a very thick... crystal center. Alright, I'm taking some decent
Blue
damage.
got the second bird.
I should probably kill my opponent with this push. They're in a bad spot. I'm going to play the Setsu here to attack the Master Tower directly. Plus pressure, because I don't need to defend myself. Just play that to kill that rumor. And there we go.
Whoa! Red is dead. Blue wins.
That's right, get the fuck out of here, Red. Blue is a superior color. And we're back. The Milloween. Alright, there's Dragon's Queen Guard. It's like a special thing. Alright, so I can add a relic to my deck. So my Empyrean units have plus 100 health, so I've got one. It's really good with Last Stand and Warrior, and that's all I've got. So it only affects 2 of my cards. It also affects my 2 of the defenses, so the Warriors that come out of this. And Brothers of Light, actually. So I get... I know this says it costs 3 less, but it costs 6, so it actually costs 4 less. Huh, that's weird. Anyways, so it affects both these relics and 2 of my units, so it's actually not bad. We got Crystal Bargain. Every other spell you play has its mana cost reduced by half, so that's really good with Last Stand, and it's not bad with Chain Lightning, and then everything else is cheap spells anyways. Head Start's alright. Even though this isn't as the best, I kind of like the Light Protects. Alright, so now we've got a big scary dragon here. Never the Fallen. So Never here is a 10 mana special mythic unit that the card that summons it, you kind of have to fulfill like a little quest requirement before you can even play the card. So like even though the unit itself costs 10, like Never itself is like if it had a mana cost, it would be like maybe 12 or 13 or something like that. It's just kind of like a rough guess. But basically, its normal attack's really strong. It attacks in a big AoE and does pretty solid DPS to every unit in an area. So it's really strong. So its level 1 is Bone for Bone. Whenever an opponent plays a minion card, Never the Fallen summons a spirit vessel. So basically, every time I play a minion, they get this little skeleton that when it dies gives spirit to something. Just like nothing too overwhelming. And then the second level is Armory Dead. Summon 8 Undying Skeletons. That's kind of scary. Basically, all the Undying Skeletons will come out, they'll walk towards me, and they're all solid melee units, and once they all die, they'll all come back again one time, so that's annoying. And then the final one is Enter the Dragon, where Never the Fallen, or Never enters the field, gains Rage and Haste. You win the game if you either defeat Never or Never's Tower, Never the Fallen. Okay, you win even... So basically, when it enters as the dragon, so I'll win even if the dragon dies or if the tower blows up. So yeah, it's kind of scary because it gets Rage and Haste and it already has really powerful attacks. So when you add, more attack speed and more damage, turns out that's pretty scary. So that's the 3rd level. It's usually not overwhelming though, because this dragon here, she just has kind of just generic undead units, so it shouldn't be too bad. There's your dragon. All deadly. Well, all undead like.
I just love the smell of mana.
I want to start with that. Dragon. The whelp will do okay against these skeletons. And that's the thing about cast delay that makes you sad. Chain Lightning's really good against that if I can get them out of play. Nice. So yeah, that's her attack. It's a big radius. No, these guys all got a 260 health, so they're, you know, that this light protects I think is really good with them. Oh, I have to trade to kill this shallow. Alright, I leveled up. These also get 100 health, which is kind of goofy, but that doesn't really matter. So now you see Navir here is just going to completely shit all over my guys because it does AoE damage and high damage. But that's the nature of it. These guys actually outrange her, so that's kind of nice. Well, they outrange her initial attack, but her attack goes long enough to where it doesn't. Yeah, I got a rammer out of that random box there, and that was actually really good. These fucking owls are annoying. That's kind of where the armor light's really strong. These swarm minions kind of just get pooped all over. Well, that's that undead army there. I'm dealing with a little army of skeletons right now. I'll play Ravenous Swarmers to get some... Fortunately, these dragon whelps are a problem. Oh, maybe the Undying skeletons don't have the Undying corpse. Or maybe the second wave already spawned. I didn't really notice. Alright, play this. Xiaolongs are annoying. Because I like spells and they get buffed when I play spells. The Setu's real big there, and there she goes. Then I noticed the Vera just kind of, even though I overwhelmed her enough times where I probably could have killed her, it's just real hard to do it. Alright, so I'm going to try to ghost this. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be lucky, so I'm just going to do this to kill it. That's a really problematic unit. Oh, that Xiaolong's a problem. Yeah, I'm taking... It's at the point in the thing where I'm actually taking damage because this stuff's kind of scary. Fucking flying units just die. Thank God. Alright, so I've got pretty good push going here. I'm gonna do this to stun the dragon, so my stuff actually lives a little bit longer and does more damage. So I got Braha there. We killed him earlier, but it's kind of like thematic because he's still under their control or something like that. Alright, I think they're low enough to where I can start trying to cycle spells to kill them. Okay, so now she entered the arena, so now I can just start to try to kill her. See how it takes damage and she takes it? She's also going to gain health, so this is kind of scary. Poison Strike. Alright, overwhelm the dragon. Do it. Okay, I can just destroy it. Alright, so now see the dragon pops up there and is dead. So yeah, that's their... That was actually a pretty close game for Niver. Nivedder, or whatever the name of it is. Yeah, it's Maldred, Prince of Nevers. Alright, so now I probably should rest because I think the last fight can be kind of tough and I really want health. So there we go. We heal up, we're at 3,500. So the Lich Queen, so there's kind of this bug here sometimes in like adventure mode. I don't know when this started, but sometimes things are invisible, so that's that. So we have Shade of the Lich Queen. The Lich Queen has caught up to you. There's no choice but to fight. So she's got her auto attack here. It's the same as the normal master, so her auto attack is kind of weak. Nothing like the dragons, where she only does 20 DPS. But it's like out of all of the masters, it's one of the stronger master attacks because it's just generically pretty solid. So her levels are studying the books. She gets 2 books of the dead, or added to Shade of Lich Queen's deck. So basically the normal Lich Queen. gets these Books of the Dead where every so many seconds it gets a one-use copy, and whenever it's cast, you get one of like 4 options that can like summon skeletons, drain some health from a unit and heal it, give her some discounts, or like I don't remember what the other one does. Skeletons, drain, or give something spirit. That's what the other one does. So just like some generic free value with those. Army of the Dead again, so they get 8 Undying Skeletons at circuit level. As you've seen last time, it kind of pushed me back a little bit, but it wasn't terrible. And then the third one's the big problem. So the opponent is cursed. So basically, once they hit level 3, once I'm cursed, my Master Tower just starts taking 3% of its max health every second until I die. So if I'm not in a situation where I'm about to kill them, and they hit level 3, that's really bad. So I need to try to, you know, play really aggressively against them and try to kill them. Because that third level is kind of like a clock timer, basically. I'm on the clock, and that's inevitability is that third level right there.
Duel!
No, that shouldn't be super bad. I'm going to do Cheese Bait and see what comes out of it. I got Ranged Sniper Scrap with Rage. That's pretty solid. Well, I got the Arcane Golem early, so that's nice. They were gonna die to the curse anyways, so... You know, Bridge Buddies. I need to get that XP. So the Arcane Golem's pretty strong with the Essence Transfer. Unfortunately, I really don't have many spells in my hand yet. Oh, okay. Oh, that's... Dragon. So this is Navarre Fallen, but the unit? Kinda scary. So I'm just going to start casting Arcane Missiles on it to do damage to it. I got Ghost. Unfortunately, that Ghost was sad. I need to play spells here to kill these buff skeletons. I'm waiting for it to come. Okay, I don't know. What did Navarre take all the damage from? I wasn't really paying attention. I was more scared about the army of skeletons there. Alright, well, whatever. I can just do this now, and Navarre will be stunned, and then she'll get low enough to where it pops and kills her. So, she is not too bad to deal with. She is a scary unit, though. I'll play Rabbit Swarmers behind that, actually. And I'm going to play Fast Entry right now. I'm going to get up there and do some solid damage. I'll play this. I'm going to kind of support Setsu with it. So me getting this damage in is a really big deal. So they got that level. So that's their second level perk. Okay, so it looks like these Undying Skeletons don't actually have the little thing where they come back. So that's nice. Alright, I'm going to Poison Strike to kill this Swarm. This is like, Poison Strike is like, whew, that's a good Poison Strike. I'm going to save... Okay, I already got Arcane Golem played. Alright, so now I'm getting to a point where I'm getting a pretty good push. So the opponents doesn't have a lot of it. Like, they're starting on their third level already, and that's kind of getting scary. But I've done some damage to them, so that's alright. Fortunately, over here, I'm going to get overwhelmed by some skeletons. This push is pretty scary, so I'm going to just keep playing spells back here to help kill this, and hopefully this Arcane Golem gets strong enough to where it can carry today. If I play that to support the Arcane Golem. It looks like, unfortunately, Arcane Golem's going to fall there. Alright, I'm going to play Brothers of Light here, because I need to push. I'm hoping to push back into the Master and start dealing some damage, because I'm getting... They're at 95 XP. That's kind of scary. They can curse buildings, apparently. I'm going to play this here, because I really want to apply pressure to them. Okay. I'm going to play Ravenous Swarmers, and hopefully they can get a good flank in and do a bunch of damage. I'm going to play that just to kill that. Alright, now these Ravenous Swarmers hopefully do a bunch of damage. Okay, yeah, they're doing pretty good. Oh god. I don't know if I'm going to win this, actually. Alright, I gotta try to do one final push here. So I'm going to wait for this bridge to get taken. I'm going to go super hard this way. I'm going to go Arcane Golem, Bridge Buddies. This is kind of my final push, because I'm going to become cursed, and that's a problem. I might actually die. Alright, I'm going to do this because I just need to do damage. I'm just completely ignoring this. I'm just trying super hard to try to kill him. Alright, so now my spell's cast twice, so I'm on a timer now. Okay. As you see in there, like, just in that little bit of time, how much health I started to lose. Like, yeah, I was... Okay. Thank God I decided to do what I did. And yeah, we did it. We defeated the Shade of the Witch Queen, and... you stopped the Witch Queen from taming the Mountain Shaper and won the day. And, yeah, that is the first adventure completed. So, I will start saving Jay's Bar Jungle here at some point. I'll start recording it. So yeah, let's see, what are we at? Yeah, that's about as long as it was last time. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you actually watched this whole thing, you know, props to you. You're a champion, as I don't know if anyone really is actually going to watch this whole 100-hour-and-a-half video. But whatever. I'm doing it because I want to. So yeah, as again, thanks so much for watching, and until next time.